ahead and start then.
All
Yeah,
right.
shooting the breeze. Come on.
Okay.
So that's what it's about, right?
The
It
ad
really
libs
is.
are all good
Yeah.
too, right?
All right.
The ad libs are good too.
Mics are
right?
live.
Hey, Mike's alive. Come
Right.
on.
Okay.
Hey, everyone. How are you? This is Damon Pitt, live from Detroit with Dave and Elena. Absolutely. Hey, we're here to talk this evening about urban education. Urban education.
Good
Hey,
topic.
Elena, how do you feel about urban education?
Ugh, it's complex.
Complex.
Very complex.
Dave, are you familiar?
Are we talking about learning in the schools or learning on the streets? Because a little bit of both.
You know what? I kind of want to get to the greasy part. It's no secret. I work in schools. I work in education.
Okay.
Actually, I'll put it out there. Disclaimer: I'm a principal in the school.
Nice.
In Detroit, charter school. I think I've been in education probably
Close to 15, 20 years.
Yeah, a little too long.
So you've seen it all.
Yes. But it's a travesty because what we have in the world of urban education, we have too many kids that are failing. Too many kids that are failing in these schools. But you have so many different people making lots of money off our babies.
Which, I mean, like that's one of those things that, and I've talked about it with my friends and that kind of stuff. Because I do. I've got two kids. I got a daughter 11, son 9.
Okay.
And they're obviously they're in school, and like some of what's going on, even because we live out in Clinton Township,
Okay.
and even some of the stuff that goes on there, I'm like, what in the ever living hell are
Yes.
people thinking? And then
Yes.
you hear. You hear the story. I mean, we've been doing events and stuff. Like we try to be as heavily involved in the city as we possibly can. And then you hear things like the state of the schools that are down here, and then you hear what a mess DPS is, and you hear about the principals and staffers that are taking all this
Yes.
money and running away with it and that kind of stuff. And I like how do you fix that? Because let's life 101. If you screw your kids, you're screwing the future. Period.
Absolutely.
Collectively.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really is. And it's sad. I mean, and me being see that as a principal, it's no secret. Most of the schools that I work for are failing school districts because I like the dysfunctionality of those particular schools. So to put me in a functioning environment, I don't think I could survive. And at the
We
same,
would probably fail.
no, I would.
we would get fired.
I would horrifically fail. I mean, I'm so used to parents coming in and cussing and things of that nature, and I mean, and my kids having mustard stains on their shirts and things of that nature. It's just a part of their uniform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But on the realistic level is that, man, our adults are failing kids. Adults are really failing kids. And Elena, you know this very well because you worked in urban schools, man, since you're 10 years old, a teacher. And it's so sad because as you kind of mentioned is that, for example, my daughter, she goes to Farmington Hills schools.
Okay.
Farmington District. So my baby comes from a functioning family, so therefore she doesn't need the things that most other children in schools would need. But I mean, you have these kids who come from these environments and they need so much.
Yeah.
But the particular teachers who are in front of them, man, may not be the best. As I like to say, low functioning, low skill set. Teachers who are coming into the urban areas maybe get their student loans paid off, for the first 3 to 5 years. And then they work in the inner city of Detroit, and then they may take off and they go to Farmington Hills or they go to Birmingham.
Right.
Where they finish out their tenure.
Yeah, my niece
Really?
is just accepted a teaching position. I forget where the hell it is. It's in East Detroit. I forget which school it is.
Okay.
But and that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
I mean she's doing it for two reasons. One, because it helps with the student loans and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But two, she's damn, that girl's got a big heart.
Yeah.
And she's just hell bent and
Yeah.
dedicated on making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because she's like 5'2", 90 pounds, soaking wet after a full meal.
So she's pretty gangster.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's got a lot of street cred. Yeah.
And you really have to be. I mean, the whole thing is just coming in and being equipped enough.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everyone has a heart,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But, with having a heart, you might not have what it takes
Yep.
to actually dive deep and in to make that connection with that student as well as their family, that parent, that grandmother, that father, who even just may be transitioning back into the world because he was maybe incarcerated.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
What?
she's actually been hitting me up with she's like Uncle Dave, like I don't know how do you have these conversations. She's like she's got a couple students who have parents in jail, or and it's just the grandmother at home, or it's just the grandfather at home, and she's like her parents went through a divorce, but they had us, that were right close by, so like they had a good support system in place, and some of these kids don't, and I think that's I think some of it unfairly gets put on the school's shoulders, where I want the schools to take accountability for this. I want the schools to take responsibility for this, when some of that is just basic fundamental shit you're supposed to be doing at home.
Absolutely. So, Damon, let's go into it. What's your slogan that you say all the time? Great schools are what?
Great schools are great schools because of great families.
Right.
So, again, my baby, Dave's kids, they don't need a lot, because at the end of the day, they come from a particular family environment in which, they're exposed, they're nurtured.
They travel outside of 8 Mile.
I mean,
Yeah.
As I like to say, if you expose kids to something outside their realm, it will forever change their lives.
For
their
sure.
livelihood. Many of our kids that we work with in the urban areas, man, they don't have that. They don't have that opportunity to be able to, adhere to those same dynamics.
Oh.
I mean, could you imagine if you had Pookie and Ray Ray staying with Dave? In 2 weeks, they'll be different people.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is how you sit at a table. Hey, this is what you say. This is what you don't say.
Basic skills
I mean, really.
101.
Yes, man. So oftentimes, man, we put so much emphasis on certain things, but the kids just, man, you got to model success. You have to model it.
When I give you something, say thank you.
Absolutely.
You step on my
Absolutely.
foot, which happens a lot.
Absolutely.
I need you to acknowledge
Absolutely.
that I am a human and you just affected me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not part of the floor. I'm not part of the concrete.
Yeah.
How about I step on your damn foot
Yeah.
and see how that feel?
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
So apologize, acknowledge it, and let's keep it moving.
But I'm going to interject. Man, this is a sour tone, Dave. Like, come on. Like, at the end of the day.
But I think, honestly, I think that's, like when we had a whole conversation with, I think it was about 2 years ago now, we had a bunch of folks in from Flint. We had the U of M professor that did the GIS water mapping surveys.
Absolutely.
We had the doctor that was, that found it. And I think sometimes you have to go negative.
Yeah.
And it's not even really going negative. It's you have to go real.
Yeah.
And you have to set the stage and say, okay, yeah, this is where it is now.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about how it can get better. Or, okay, that's the downside.
Yeah.
Here are the positives that go along with that too. And here's how to build that and move forward.
One thing I haven't understood is that education is not equitable. So, for example, if you are a kid, it's no secret. I mean, schools make money off of kids. I mean,
For sure.
You got to pay bills.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So, a part of it is, hey, that's a part of the process, and the other piece is like, wow, I can't believe you've done that. So, part of the process is if you're a kid in Detroit, kid who enters the doors of any Detroit school, that school gets a little bit over $8,000. If you're in Birmingham, that kid enters that door, that's about maybe a little bit over 12, 13 grand.
Really?
Yes.
So I'm curious because one of the conversations.
Sing, money, 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 money.
Right. No, one of the stories that we talked about on our show not too long ago was, and maybe it's changed recently, and I'm just not aware, was that like one of the stats that came out in this Free Press article was that comparatively speaking, DPS got more per student than nearly any other school district or region in Southeast Detroit.
Yeah. And I'm gonna speak to that. So what occurs is you have Title I funds, you got 91A, you got 31A, all that crazy stuff. So if you get a baseline monetary value per kid, so
okay,
I think it's a little bit over like 8,000
okay,
whatever the fine print is, and then what happens is if you're a Title I kid, meaning that you're a free and reduced lunch kid,
okay,
you get additional funds for that. So the Title I funds can be anywhere from an additional 8, 9, 10 grand. So you're right.
And it stuns me the percentage of kids that applies to.
And then if you have 40 plus kids in a class, do the math.
Yeah.
So we're talking about traditional public. So I'm gonna take that over to a charter realm. So if the three of us decided that we're going to create a management company.
I was going to say, yeah. So for those who don't know, what is the difference with like what's a charter school as compared to just a public school?
Yep. Public schools and charter schools are essentially the same. The only thing that is a difference is charter schools are schools of choice.
Okay.
Meaning that if you live...
Which, depending on which commercial you listen to, is either the greatest thing ever or ending society as we know it.
Wherever you live. You can live in Flint, Michigan and say, I want to bring my kid to the east side of Detroit to go to school. And that's totally acceptable.
Cool.
It's totally fine. Because at the end of the day, you're going to walk through and that's... you're going to make that money. But from a charter school, typically about over 95% of your charter schools have a management company. So management companies collect a fee.
Okay.
Based upon the student population. So, for example, we decided to create a school today or start a management company. We'll say, hey, we're going to take over a particular school. If that school has a population of, just say, 3,000 kids, we say we're going to take 3% of the earnings of the amount of kids that come through that door.
Okay.
So, do the math. 3,000 times 8.
Yeah, times 8. Yeah, 3%. Okay.
And take 3% of that. And that's our money that we walk away with.
Okay.
Yes. Isn't that something?
So then I guess how does that help the kids?
That's where we're going. So we're saying 3%. Most people do 11. Most people do 12.
Oh, okay.
And what occurs is they pay teachers maybe 33, 34.
Right.
But they walk away with about good $800,000, depending on how many schools they have, 1.7,
right.
$2.4 million. But we're saying we can't pay teachers more. Or we can't do more for the kids in our buildings. But they walk away with a great deal of money. That's the issue we had with Bessie DeVos.
Okay, Skeptical Dave is skeptical. Interesting.
This is fun.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, I mean, it's a horrible analogy, but I mean, I guess it's the one that comes to mind. Like, how is that any different from like the privatization of prisons and jails?
So you're going somewhere. You about to say something? Lena, say something.
Listen, that was on my sticky note. I sometimes have these like epiphanies and occasionally will hit Damon with one, and I actually sent him this video by Vice, and it was called Raised in the System. And I watched it alone, and I was crying, and then I get a voicemail from Dame like, don't you ever send me something like this again.
Mm-hmm.
I'll cry for hours. And so I followed up with the debrief, and the question is like, how do ordinary people keep kids from going into the system?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because once you're in, you're in.
You're in.
It's real, yeah. Because we have actually one of the shows on the network is called The Returning Citizen. Yeah. And it's all about like, you're seeing people coming, getting reacclimated back to society after being in prison and that kind of stuff. And and the vast majority of those shows, it starts when they're a kid, or a young teenager or something like that. And then once it's almost it's very Star Wars-ish. Once you begin your path down the journey of the dark side, forever will it dominate your destiny. Whether it's intentional or not, whether it's because of something stupid that happened, whether it's and that's I know from personal, I got insanely lucky when I was a kid because I did some dumb shit.
Absolutely.
We all have.
And were it not for the fact that my best friend's dad, I grew up in like middle of nowhere New England, which is kind of redundant.
Oh,
yeah, like little. Oh, so I mean, talk about people who never leave. When I went back for my reunion a few years ago, probably 90 to 95% of my graduating class, which was all of 200 people, and that was with 3 towns in the school, had never left, had never gone more than 20 miles away from away from there. I'm like, God, it's just that's crazy to me. But so like I said, were it not for the fact that my buddy's dad was the district judge, we probably would have wound up in jail. Probably would have wound up, having, and going down that road. Now granted, there was only so much he could help us, but it was what it was. And, and it's one of the where like you eventually have to straighten your shit out. But I had that opportunity to straighten my shit out. I had that opportunity. A lot of these kids do not.
They don't, especially nowadays. And, man, it's crazy. I can't believe we're on a sour talk. Listen, people, if you are out here listening, it is supposed to be my birthday weekend, moving forward, and all the above. And they got me here on
I
a serious
surprised
note.
him with this, people.
But I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this to Dave. The reality of it is that, man, I challenge people. If Dave, if you were able to go into different schools in the city of Detroit and see for yourself what's going on, it's a travesty. It's horrendous. I'm not saying that we don't have any credible schools, but they are slim and far in between.
Oh yeah. No, I've done. We've done a couple speaking engagements.
Yes.
Whether it's like career day,
Yeah,
and that kind of stuff. We've gone in and talked about,
Yeah.
Media and podcasting and that kind of
Definitely.
stuff. And number one, the condition of some of the schools, holy hell.
Awful.
And number two, being able to see the spark on some of those kids' faces when, you know what? No, you don't need a degree to do this.
Thank
You don't need you don't need this,
Yes.
and I think that's one of the ways where I think we kind of failed an entire generation of our kids. Like I remember my nephew when he was 16 years old got a motorcycle, and he needed to, he was going to do some work on it, and I was like, oh, why don't you just bring it into shop class? And he was like, what? I was like, just bring when I was a kid, the kids that had motorcycles just went and brought it into the shop and they worked on it. Uncle Dave, we don't have shop class. Like, wait, what? Like it's like we screwed an entire generation of kids by telling them the only model that works is by putting yourself in horrific debt and getting a piece of paper that someone may or may not even I got 2 degrees. I'm not doing anything with either one of them at all. Not even close. One of the shows on the network, Arc Welders, Arc Junkies. He's a welder. And so we've had Adam Janai from Mob Steel here in Detroit and he said it's so hard for him to find people that A, want to, or B, know they can work with their hands. Wow. That whole blue collar mentality.
It's lost.
Listen.
It's lost.
How the hell does Detroit lose a blue collar mentality?
My dad raised the whole family being a skilled trade and cut a grinder for Chrysler.
Yeah.
Like Mount Engine, 8 Mile and Mound, shout out, is completely torn down. I think they park cars where they used to
build them.
But he raised 3 kids and a wife, being part of skilled trades.
That was Detroit. I tell people all the time, if you have a parent, if you're my age, I'm 39 years old, be 40. Hey, 40.
40.
It's not that bad.
But if you have a parent who's originally from Detroit, that's really?
Yeah.
How'd that happen? Because, man, everyone came up here for the big 3. It was so much opportunity. And I think that's the disgusting part is that, man, we don't have those opportunities anymore. You know what I'm saying? The way we had back then.
I think they're coming back.
I hope so.
Like I said, with the Mob Steels of the world, and and there are more and more trade-based companies that are coming back here now, because I think, for a couple different reasons. One, dude, space is cheap. It's dirt cheap. To fire something up here,
Absolutely.
and there's still a tremendous workforce.
Yes, it is.
And even if they don't, and that's I have had this guy it's the Detroit work ethic is unparalleled.
No,
everybody here has a job and a side hustle.
People grind.
You have to.
At
People
least
grind.
one side hustle.
Especially teachers.
Yeah.
Hello.
And you're raised that way, though. That's the crazy part.
I think that's a
all you
Detroit
do is just work.
mentality, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a Detroit thing.
It is.
One of my sorority sisters relocated to Las Vegas, and she's a teacher, principal, but she just noticed the different drive with the kids versus our kids. The drive is not there. Detroit, you're hungry, so you're gonna go out there and hustle your butt off to get fed. Maybe somewhere else, not as much. Yeah, you're hungry, but you'll get it some way, somehow. So it's just that Detroit kind of just gutter grind instinct.
Yeah.
And we're known for it. We are. I used to live in Houston, Texas, and that's all they would talk about. You're from Detroit? You got about 3 jobs, don't you?
It's real.
It's a strong hustle for whatever reason. I don't know. But again, it's that blue collar. That's why we're so hard on the Lions. What's going on with these Lions?
Oh, for the love of
And I love that Honolulu blue sweater.
Rumor has it Dan Gilbert might be going after him now.
Are you serious?
Well,
he just sold Greektown.
He just sold Greektown.
So he got himself out of the gaming industry. And so everybody's trying to figure out, all right, is he going after the Tigers or the Lions? It's going to be one of the two.
And then, hey, maybe Mike Duggan can be the coach.
Oh, boy. Listen, let's not even get started
You know,
on that.
as long as
please.
you know, nobody keeps filming him going in and out of some woman's house in Novi.
That was,
apparently.
Dave,
boy.
that was hilarious. Listen, I'm in a meeting, and the meeting was kind of boring. I'm checking something. I said, "Oh, I gotta step out and read this article."
Yeah,
you know,
that's.
we love the conspiracy stuff.
Oh, well, yeah, and it's one of those things, like how bad. Well, because I guess the guy that paid the private investigator is involved with like 6 different lawsuits
Yes,
with the
he
city,
is.
and he keeps getting his ass beat. And so like this was his like last ditch Hail Mary. Well, I'll just discredit Duggan. This is why I hate people.
Yeah, no.
I mean, Detroit has come such a way, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you see Duggan. Hey, I tell you what, I don't know if it's taboo, but man, I mean, what did you think about Kilpatrick?
You know what?
Ooh, caught him up. I caught him
No.
up. Oh,
No, not at all.
hey, the audience, he's sweating. He's sweating.
No, not at all. I mean, honestly, I think he did a lot of damage to this region.
Yeah.
You know, but it's one of those things where how much of that was intent versus upbringing.
Yes, I agree.
You know, because
Totally
I mean, like
agree.
that's because I've spent a lot of, you know, just the more I've been out here since March of '96. I moved out here.
Okay.
Hey, we graduated, man.
Let me get my
So I've been out here for 22
Saint
years
Martin
now.
de
You know, in and
Porres.
around the
Very
city.
right.
And
Shout out.
it's almost a. And this is also like a Detroit area, you know, just like metro culture thing, where if you make it, it's your responsibility to bring your boys with you.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I am.
And you lift, and
I'm
you
bringing everybody.
You bring everybody up, you know, and
Which was a downfall. Of it.
when you
Yeah.
have that going, and you don't necessarily, and those necessarily aren't the right people to have around you in those circumstances, and so like you know when you're starting off your term with. You know, rumors of a stripper being killed, you know, at an
Which,
inauguration
do you know they're
party.
bringing that back up? Like, I think it was at 100,000 or some price.
Yeah,
They just added more money to it. And I
Oh,
think
for a
it's-
reward.
Yes.
Yes.
They're-
Yes.
They'll
Like,
find her right about the
this
same time they
dog
find
will
Hoffa.
not
I agree.
lay.
Yeah, never gonna
I agree.
happen. You know, but it do. I mean, it's you know, I thought it. I think like everybody, I thought he was going to be great for the
thought
city
so,
when he
too.
first stepped in.
'Cause he was so
Absolutely.
dynamic.
Oh yeah, he was.
I mean, a
dude,
great
he was
speaker.
larger than life.
I
He
mean,
was. You know, he was.
speak.
And then like the
Yes.
more you're like, dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like because we have this conversation about Trump.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if Trump would have just been the sales guy and just shut up,
He would have been
like
all right.
if he would have just said, "Hey, you know what? We had some stuff we got to do.
Yep.
We're gonna get both sides working together. I'm gonna be a sales guy, and off we go."
Yep.
But
He
no,
will.
he can't keep his dumb ass off Twitter. He can't
all.
keep his dumb ass racist self from
Yeah,
shooting off
no,
whatever the
seriously.
hell he talks
It's
about.
bad.
It's like this nation
It's
has
bad.
never
We've
been
never seen this before.
No.
like
We've
this.
never seen this before.
It's like, well, I mean, maybe back with like Andrew Jackson,
I mean-
you know, and those days.
I
But
mean-
I mean, it's loopy right now,
I
and
mean-
it's that same kind of thing.
Where we're living at with these racial implications like this, man. I mean, the way we're turning on each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen this in my lifetime.
No, it's nuts.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I mean, it's sad, man. It's
You know, but
sad.
but you look at, so the, you wind up, we had the Super Bowl here, and there's always, no matter how positive things are going, there's always the naysayers like, oh, well, there was all those fake storefronts.
Yeah, yeah.
So what?
It looked good, though.
The city
It looked
looked
good.
good.
It was
And
gorgeous.
that was basically when, because we were here. Like I said, we've been doing our events for IT folks since 2001.
Yes.
We started our networking group.
Okay.
And so when the bottom fell out of the market here in 07, 08, it got bad. I mean, everybody knows how bad it got out
was
here.
awful.
And so watching it from that point start to turn and come back, it was probably 2013 was when it started, where it wasn't the job seekers that were knocking at our doors looking for the next event.
Yeah.
It was the recruiters that were banging on the doors like, hey, I'm having a hard time finding people. And now that's very much what it is, where the job market here is flourishing from an IT perspective.
Especially from IT.
Yeah. And so it's great to see, that kind of stuff coming up. And like I said, I wish, I want to see that next, dude, you need that those trade skills. You need that. You need that labor force here.
You do.
You know, and like, you know, you hear, you know, like they built, you know, the new arena up here, and you know they couldn't find enough skilled tradespeople in the city.
It's the weakest excuse.
Like it doesn't take much to swing a hammer. It's not that hard. You know, and so I do. I mean, I want to continue to see that change because you have to have, dude, you can't have a white collar city without a blue collar infrastructure.
I agree.
You can't.
I agree.
It doesn't work.
And again, that's just our identity.
Yeah.
Overall. I mean, and it won't change.
No.
I mean, as much as they may want to, that's just who we are as Detroit, and that's what makes us who we are. It's the same way. No matter how many games the Lions lose, they're still going to pack the stands.
Yep,
because they're devoted.
Nobody's. You know, and for every person that says I'm never going again.
Yeah.
There's 3 people waiting to pick up those season tickets.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, it brings you back. One thing about Detroit, it's a special place. It is a special place. It's very unique as well, with a great reputation.
It is. I mean, it's I lived in Boston and D.C. before I moved out here.
Okay. So how would you compare?
Well, so it's like, I always tell I still tell my friends back home or back there, hey, dude, Detroit's got all the same cool shit.
Yeah.
That a Boston, Manhattan, or D.C. does. The only difference is here you're going to drive to get to it. It's not. We don't. It's getting there, but we don't have the downtown destination district.
We don't.
Like like Adams Morgan in D.C. or around the theater district in Boston, or we don't have that here yet. It's getting there and it's getting better. But I mean, that was one of the biggest challenges. Like I said, we've been doing events down here since 2001 when nobody wanted to come down here.
No one.
It was
nothing here.
We would be thrilled if 5 people showed up at our downtown events, and part of that struggle has always been finding places that were open.
Yes.
And so you come down for even now you come down for an event on a weeknight, and you go to the Fox or you go to something like that, and you walk out, nothing else to do.
I know,
because all the bars are closed, all the restaurants are closed. I don't want to go to the damn casino again.
I agree. You can have a casino, and Dave, that's my thing, is I want to support downtown so much.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised in Detroit, but it's nothing to do in the late hours.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll just stay my way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Really.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's that's one of the challenges that Detroit has. And it is. I mean, it's getting better. You're getting more and more. You've got I mean, Hamtramck. I was just hanging out there last night with a bunch of people.
It's a cool part.
Yeah, I mean, so you've got a lot of bars there, and that kind of stuff, and a lot of great little places. You've got Corktown.
Yep.
Still has the like Nancy Whiskey and those kind of. But that's not downtown.
Yeah, and people want to associate themselves with downtown.
Yeah. Well, and so and it's that what is it? The 7-2. It's every time it's the 7.2 miles that are that make up Midtown, and that's the struggle. Like even you look at. I had a bunch of friends that went to a con that was over at the Rensen last weekend, or 2 weekends ago now, and even there, all the bars were closed. We did the Michigan Comic Con. We did at Kobo. Yeah. Phenomenal to see a new con coming into town. It was huge, 30,000 people. All the bars were closed at 8:00. What the hell? What do you expect those 30? You want those 30,000 people staying down here?
You want them down there.
You want them hanging out. You want them, you want them hitting bars. You want them spending money because I mean that's what they're here for.
That's what they're here for. And like I said, no one wants to go. I mean, I wouldn't say no one, but not everyone wants to go to a casino.
Right. No thanks.
I want life. I want culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I want a bar, where I can sit down at a table with my friends and keep yakking and talking and hanging out. I mean, and that's one of the things that you look at, and there's so much history with some of the bars around here. Whether it's 2A Inn or Nancy Whiskey or some of the, you've got bars that have literally been open for over 100 years.
Forever.
Yeah. And there's so much history there that you can soak in. But again, you got to get there, and that's part of. And I think that's the other part of the struggle that downtown is happening. Is there are certain people that are just snatching up stuff.
I agree,
and then sitting on it.
Yes, and won't move.
And so you've got dude, right across the street from these studios.
Yeah,
you've got this gorgeous, I don't know if it used to be a hotel or apartment buildings or whatever.
Yeah.
those, if you looked, I don't know if you looked outside when you were
I'm about to look, audience.
There's like just piles of bricks and all that kind of stuff, over in the parking lot areas. Those have been there for a year since we first came down here and looked at this space about building it out.
Yes,
those piles of bricks have been there, and so you're like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why are you not doing something with that building? Look at what's going on here, and then why would you not want apartments or a hotel or something like that? Instead of sitting on it waiting for the highest bidder or whatever else to come along, do something with it. And then you've got companies that are snatching up all the liquor licenses in town and sitting on them. I mean, it's real hard to get, like, if you want to open up a bar in the city right now, it's damn near impossible to get your hands on a liquor license.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, because there are two groups that are snatching up all of them as they become available. Man. Like Tom's Tavern, one of those places that was full of history.
I know Tom's been around forever.
Somebody just bought that, and now they're sitting on the license, and that building's not open. And so so now it's a license that's not in use.
I mean, so Dave, what's the plan moving forward? I mean, because there's a lot of moving pieces.
True.
So
and I think it's okay. Is this,
like, for example, you have Chicago. Chicago's like, hey, we're gonna have the tallest buildings.
Yep.
We build up.
Yep.
Hey, if New York puts one up, we're gonna put another one up.
Yep.
Like, so I mean, who are we? What's the plan?
God, I wish I knew. Like, because you look at like one of the. We talk about this on our show every now and then.
Yeah.
You look at the riverfront.
Yep.
And what that could be.
Man,
you look at Chicago, you look at San Francisco, you look at, cities like that.
They have intentionality behind it, though.
You have talk behind it. Oh, you mean those other
Chicago,
cities? Yeah, the other cities have intentionality.
Ours
Man, and they're all 8-lane open roads.
We put together a sidewalk that you can run down, and then you got to run back the other way to get
the
back.
Exact same way, because there's nowhere to go there, and it dead ends. Yeah, and that's the problem. There isn't a. It's almost like everything is allowed to happen haphazardly, as opposed to having some structure and plan to it.
I agree.
And that's really what that needs. Because the summertime. You walk around, there, and you walk around Hart Plaza, and there's so many people that want to be down there and doing things.
Yeah.
Again, give them a reason to stay.
And I don't understand, because when I was coming up, like, Hart Plaza was the place to be.
Yeah.
Everyone was just there. They commune together. You come together. How are you? What's going on? And I'm a kid at the time. You know what I'm saying? But that's where you came. You went to the Renaissance Center to go to Denny's at the time. That was the place to be. So I mean, it's just, it has to come back.
Yeah.
But I love what you said, is that we need a reason for it to come back.
Well, and that's that's really the issue, is that it's you need people. You have to get past the mentality that, thankfully, is quite literally dying off.
Yeah.
Because it is an older generation where I'm not going down below 8 Mile for any reason.
Yes.
Right. And you have so many people now. Like I said, we've been doing and going and running events down here forever. Since when I moved out here in '96, I'm used to hanging out in Boston. I'm used to hanging out in DC. I'm coming downtown. I'm going to the Leland and Hidden City Club. I'm going to.
So if I can pause you and stop you, like, you came in '96, and that's the year I graduated from high school.
Okay.
What was the biggest shock, where, like, wow, why did they do this when you came here?
I think the Michigan left. Took a long time for me to get used to. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 rights make a left.
Comes up with that? Out of many things, who comes up with that?
And it's and just that whole, you have to drive.
Yes.
To get everywhere. This is the only city I've ever lived in that did not have functional mass transit.
Okay.
DC has the metro, Boston has the
They
T,
do.
New York has the subway system. You didn't. I lived on Capitol Hill when I lived in D.C.
Wow.
and I was 2 blocks from a subway stop.
Wow.
I didn't have to drive.
Yeah.
My car stayed parked in front of my house. That was it. And then you look at that's one of the other conversations that we've had that I've had with my friends, like, who didn't understand regional transit.
Yeah.
And didn't understand why it mattered. They're like, oh, well, it doesn't really impact me. I'm like, well, okay, but think about it. So, like, when I lived when I lived in D.C., I could either leave my car parked in front of my house, and I would spend $40 a month on a Metro pass, and I would go ahead and hop on the subway, get into the city, get out of the city, and life was good. Or I could hop in my car, and this is back in '94, '95, so I mean, it's only skyrocketed since then. Or I could go drive into the city to where I was working
Yeah.
and pay $20 to $30 a day to park. So that's $100 to $150 a
Absolutely.
week, as opposed to $40 a month.
Definitely.
Why would I not? Why?
Right.
Why would you?
That's sensible.
I never really thought of it that way. Like, yeah, or you don't have a car. How do you get to a grocery store?
Yeah. Right.
No, okay, like now, nowadays we take Uber, Lyft, all that kind of stuff for granted. Didn't
do.
exist back then. And more to the
all.
point, fine. That still has the dependency of someone with a smartphone
Yes.
and a credit card
Yep.
and other things that some people do not have. People,
Absolutely.
And so you have to lower that barrier of entry.
Yeah.
In order to get people, it's not, because I hate the mentality where it's not a handout, it's a hand up.
I agree. I
Dude,
like
you're
where you put that.
you're
where you put
supposed to help those who
Yes.
can't. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
But everyone doesn't have the same mentality.
Yeah, it's
all.
it's sad.
Yeah. I mean, one thing about Detroit, and I like what you said about the transit, because I lived in Houston, and Houston, first of all, Houston doesn't have the best transit either.
Yeah,
We used to call it, everything's a 45-minute drive.
right.
I used to live in the Galleria and have to go to my job, and every day was an hour.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and especially now with all the disaster that is MDOT.
yes.
You got 696 shut down.
Yeah.
You've got 94
Yep.
that closes on the weekend, so you literally cannot go
Unless
from
you know
the
how to
east
navigate
to the west.
Yeah.
It's
It's-
because like I said, I
bad.
live in Clinton Township.
Yeah.
Our studios are here and in Royal Oak.
Yep.
The construction has literally taken me from, it would take me 20 minutes to get here. It would take me 20 minutes to get to Royal Oak. It is now 45
Wow.
minimum to either,
Wow.
because it's all surface streets. It's it's doing that, and it's not looking like it's going to get better anytime soon.
No. I live in Southfield, and they're doing a lot of construction.
Yep.
And I really don't see people on a day-to-day doing it. I mean,
No, and again, that's where a mass train. You look at like I said, the metro in DC, it goes from all the way down into Southern Virginia, all the way up into Maryland,
Wow.
and all points in between. So like even if you lived, like talking about Amazon, basically was being a big gigantic.
let's
tease.
talk about Amazon. What happened?
They were never coming here, and I think anybody with a clue knew they were never coming here. But they were using what they got
Yeah.
from us and the other cities as leverage
Isn't that
and ideas for what they wanted out of New York and Northern Virginia. So that's the thing. Like they're talking about Crystal City.
Yes.
I used to hang out in Crystal City all the time.
Really?
And it's a great little town.
It's a cool place.
Oh, it is. It's very, very cool. And it's it was one of those satellite subway stations
Got it.
where you go parking garage, park your car, walk up, hop on the subway, head in, and you're in the city in 5 minutes. And that's the kind, and that's why Amazon was never coming here, because that's the kind of stuff they're looking for.
Let's go after them.
No, think about how much time, effort, energy, dollars got wasted.
That's a lot.
Putting that proposal together.
So they really thought they had a chance. When I'm saying thought they had a chance, the people here thought they had a chance, or they just.
Part of me hopes like hell that they knew.
Yeah.
But then, she needs to get back in. But then the other part of me, hopes that they were either hopes that they were intelligent enough that they knew that it was never going to happen, but hoped that it would. It's one of those things where you look at the best case, worst case scenario. You might know with 99.9% of every fiber in your being that something's going to go wrong, but that 0.1% is good enough and great enough that it's worth the risk.
So this Dan Gilbert guy, he's about to be. He already has a name, but 50 years from now, he's going to be a legend.
Yeah. Probably, and it's probably far more so than Mike Ilitch.
Absolutely,
which is funny because
because
you
he's
look
aggressive.
Yeah, well, and when you look at the building, I don't know if you've seen the designs for what he's having built at the old Hudson site.
Yes.
Which let's be honest, it's a big giant schwanz.
I mean,
it really is. That's just is what it is. But that's him making his mark on the city.
Yes, I agree.
Totally.
Totally.
And like I said, now you've got him getting out of Greektown, and okay, is he going to go after the Tigers or the Lions? And more to the point, with to me, I can see the Illiches, especially the kids. Now the dad's gone, not wanting to be in that world anymore. That was Mike's thing.
That was his.
Yeah, I mean that was his baby. And I don't think the kids share that passion. I don't see the Fords getting rid of the Lions. I don't see them letting their claws go.
I mean, why would you though? I mean, because they're winning, meaning that. I mean, we have devoted, loyal fans, and
they don't need the team to do anything
at all.
Like that's what
At
people.
all.
I think that's the part that makes me laugh,
At
and I
all.
don't think people understand that football teams are profitable before they ever set foot on the field because of all the TV rights and all the deals and all the advertising and all that stuff. And so I mean, I'm all about. Go get it. I am.
Yeah.
But I'm also the first person that goes, you're getting paid $20 million to play a game.
So I just thought about it. I forget you're from New England, so you're a Patriots fan.
Oh God, no. No, I honestly.
You know what,
No.
audience? We're about to get up right now and leave.
And the table flips over.
As Elena just came back in.
Yeah, no,
Yo, we had
I'm
to
not a
refill
football
these
guy.
So let me say.
cups.
Oh, you're not. So,
No, I'm a hockey guy.
So we're gonna have a quick disclaimer. So what's your thoughts on Bill Belichick and New England?
Honestly, I don't know that I have any. Like I said, I'm not a football guy. I get dragged to one football game a year. That's the guys. We go to one football game, one basketball game, one baseball game, and then I try to get them to as many hockey games as I can.
Yeah.
But so and like,
I've yet to go to one.
But like that, we
game.
get we start tailgating at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for
That's fun.
12 years now.
Wow.
And it is tradition every year at some point in time during the game we're at. I am the guy in a Red Wings jersey at a Lions game who is drunk and passed out in a suit that they find and put up on the Jumbotron. It happens
Audience,
every year.
He's passed out by chocolate milk.
Yeah. Because I just don't. It's not my game. It's fun. I love hanging with the guys and all that stuff, and so I go to one game a year.
So you like the Wings, huh?
Huge hockey fan. I think the Wings definitely need to get blown up.
Yeah,
They're
I agree.
horrible.
I've been saying it. I agree.
But no, I mean but so do the Lions.
Yeah.
You look because like Brandstatter records with us, and so I was sitting in studio with him Wednesday and listening to him and Wojo.
Okay.
Talk about what the hell is going on. Like
No
they
one
didn't like
knows.
they didn't look this bad in the 0-16 season.
Yes.
And who?
I like where
and
you
who
put
was
that,
their
though.
coach?
Swartz in 0-16. Swartz.
No, the
0-16?
dude that just left.
Oh, Caldwell came after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get me on my Caldwell soapbox here. Okay. I'm coming back. I got some fresh air in me, guys.
Caldwell will. I get it, understand it, and I think a part of me had a fondness for him because I think he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
But Detroit exudes a certain personality, and it has to be this.
Yep.
And Caldwell was too corporate and all those things.
Yep.
It just wasn't a good fit.
Yeah, it didn't have the fire. Like people thought he wasn't taking things seriously.
Yes.
When it's
Isn't
just
that crazy?
when it's not his personality to
Yes.
flip tables over and that kind of stuff.
Swartz went 0-16, and people still say, I like Swartz.
Yeah. Well, that was, and I remember because I remember we went to 2 games that year. We went to one of the preseason games because remember they were 4-0 in the preseason, and people had Super Bowl rings in their eyes, and this is the year, and yada yada.
Yeah.
And then they went 0-16.
Yeah, they did.
And it's and that's what those 2 guys were talking about on Wednesday was just fundamentally they didn't look as bad that year as like they were at least trying.
Yeah, I agree.
And they made games of them.
Yeah.
Now, dude, you got God, I'm blanking on the quarterback's name.
Stafford.
He's been sacked 16 times in 2 games.
My God,
Which
it is
has
not
never
enough
happened.
ice in Iceland
No,
to
like-
heal his body back.
But
okay?
like you say, it's confusing to watch. I'll be honest. Because at minimum, at least we could say, hey, he's going to pass for 400 yards,
Yeah.
and we're still going to lose.
It's going to be entertaining. Right, yeah. We're still going to suck, but it'll be an entertaining
Now
watch.
it's
Yeah.
like, we can't get 7 first downs. We can't get, like, what's going on here?
Well, so like this year,
It's
we went to the Green Bay game, and it was, and that's everybody was still full of hope
Yeah.
then. That was the game where the Green Bay kicker clanged what was it,
6
5
of them.
kicks,
Yeah, some of
you
them.
know, off the uprights.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, you know,
Was
everything's
he
going the
fired
Lions'
after
way.
that game, by the
No,
way?
you know what happened though, because conspiracy theory. NFL said, hey, let them win. NFL.
Yeah, throw him a bone. Yeah, throw him a bone.
But
Yeah.
but you must hit the goalpost
Right.
3 times.
Yeah, that's easy to pull off. But no, I mean it is. I mean it's because I have so many friends that are just diehard Lions fans, and watching the agony they go through.
Yeah.
What was our old kicker name?
Hansen?
Yeah.
Listen, he should have been MVP every year. Okay.
Oh yeah, he was like I think isn't he? God, what is the stat? He's got more points as a Lion than
Listen.
anyone else.
Yeah.
Like he's like more than any quarterback,
My
more
top-
than any receiver.
My top sports jerseys would be a Hansen jersey
And who?
and Jim Leland,
Jim.
the Tigers. Come on. I'm sorry.
No Isaiah Thomas?
What? What? I said different sport. I didn't get to
Isaiah Thomas
basketball
is Detroit.
yet. Yes, he is. Yes. Listen. There's no
I
negating
I
on
grew
that
up not
part.
being a Pistons fan, but Isaiah Thomas
Absolutely.
was Detroit.
Oh yeah,
Number
And
11.
is I'm sorry, Isaiah. Is Detroit.
don't let Dan Gilbert hear you say that. Yeah.
Like at Aretha Franklin's funeral, he had me crying at home from his speech. Like he really connected with the city.
Well, and I think that's one of those things you see a lot. I think a lot of athletes get that.
Yeah.
Like they, because
I don't think they get it like they used to get, like back in like the kind of day, you know?
I think it just looks different. That's
Well,
all.
I think
think it's the
even
same.
today, I think they know
Yeah,
they
I totally
know
agree.
what Detroit sports fandom is.
Yes, I agree.
You know,
But do
and
they link themselves up with those people?
it depends on how long they're planning on being here.
Sure.
If they're coming here for a 1-year deal to end out their career,
Who cares?
Right.
But like I think Stafford's tried.
Yeah.
And I do like Sue never did.
No.
But Stafford did. I think Calvin did.
What'd you think about Sue?
I was a thug.
Yeah.
He's dude. It is a violent game.
You know, his sister still lives in Birmingham.
Yeah, it's a violent game, but dude, there's still rules, and you can't keep costing the team games because you can't keep your shit in check.
Could you imagine if he was still here? I mean, Detroit won it, and they tried like aggressively to put him on a pedestal.
Oh yeah, well and that's
he
I think the
rejected
city
it every
tried,
time.
and that's why I said he
rejected it
didn't
every-
want to be here.
Yeah, I agree.
He wanted that payday.
Yes,
and
yes.
okay, and
But
that's
he still took that same type of behavior over to Florida with him. Like,
oh yeah,
it
and
didn't
Miami wasn't
change.
having it.
No, I was about to say it looked different.
didn't
I
change.
agree
Yeah.
with you saying. Yeah, they shipped him out. Said,
Yeah,
bye.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
well, where is he now?
L.A.
yeah.
Rams.
Oh.
And you don't hear his name.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's and that's one of those things where you're like, God, can Detroit catch an effing break? Where there's those 3 years where they got the number 1 pick, and they got Stafford, Calvin, and Sue, and those were the only 3 years where, because of like the way the union had structured everything, where they $20 million, $20 million, $20 million.
But remember,
Only Detroit could catch that break. Or could have, like, only in Detroit would that happen.
They should have been able to build a foundation based upon that, and just couldn't do it.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's almost like you see the memes floating around Facebook, like, okay, you got $10, and these players are $3, and these players, you got $60 million wrapped up, and that's why they had to let him go.
Yeah,
like
he has to go.
everybody's barking about
He has
Tate.
to go. Yeah.
They let Tate go, dude. They had to. He wasn't going to stay. He wasn't going to sign.
Tate anywhere else is a mediocre talent, and he's 52 years old.
Yeah.
People think he's 30, 31. He's 52.
Yeah. But
Shout out to Kevin Glenn, who is a quarterback in the CFL. And, he's either 40 or knocking on 40, and he's still in the CFL and has played for every Canadian team in the CFL. He has every jersey. I went to his game in Hamilton, and, the hecklers or whatever. I'm like, no, I don't do that. I don't play that game. I heckle the hecklers.
Hey, Dave, she's giving disclaimers. We were having
Shut
serious
up.
conversations.
No, you guys were
Real
so
gamers.
loud.
Yeah, no, but I mean that's so great. Yeah, they got a 3rd round pick for him. Cool, but like they got nothing when Sue left.
Nothing.
other than hurt feelings.
Yeah.
That's what Sue left behind was hurt feelings. Calvin, when Calvin retired.
Remember, the defensive coordinator his name was Terrell Austin.
Yep.
So he goes to Cincinnati. I just read the other day he got fired.
Yep.
But remember, he was like, "Hey, we're looking at him for head coach." I mean, he was hot.
Yeah.
Whew.
Well, and that's I think that God, and football I think is a lot like hockey that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I don't know
Because
basketball and baseball as well, but like football and hockey, it seems like the same 6 coaches keep getting recycled until they die.
I agree.
Or a scandal hits. Like one of the two.
Yeah.
I will say, I think the funniest of them all, as it pertains to hockey, is Melrose, Barry Melrose.
Oh God. Yeah.
He come and he talks all this trash in Sports Center. Hey, they need to do this, they need to do that. So he gets hired again.
Yep.
What he last 16, 17 games.
Yeah, and then he's out again.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
That's awful.
But no, I mean, and that's but I think that's just getting back to that that Detroit sports fan mentality. Like I think we want our sport. We want them to be heroes.
Yeah,
we want that. We want to love them. We
worship
want to embrace them. And when it's not, Sergei Fedorov, prime case in point.
Legend.
He's that's a guy. Any other team, his number's retired.
I agree.
He's in the Hall of Fame already. But here,
Yeah.
because somebody else made him a job offer,
Absolutely.
wasn't even his fault, and the Illiches had to match it, and that cost the team money, and Now, although I was happy to the first couple times he came back, he got booed.
Yeah.
But when he came back for the New Year's Day alumni thing,
I know what you're talking about.
everybody finally,
because it's a big story about it.
yeah, everybody embraced him.
I mean, but he's a legend, man. I mean, the Wings were incredible.
Oh, dude, the
during that
Russian
period.
5, that's
During that period?
that's legendary.
It was
5 goals in a game. Nobody else has done that.
Untouchable.
Incredible.
Yeah, and he played defense.
I mean, I'll be honest. That's how I got into hockey.
Really?
It was just, during that time. Yeah. It was just incredible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Joe Louis?
Oh yeah.
There's never a place like Joe Louis.
No.
Speaking of, that's why I kind of think, the Red Wings are having just a little bit of a hard time. Like, you cannot.
Little Caesars?
Little
The
Caesars
dojo.
is awesome.
That's what I call it. That's what it's the dojo.
I love LCA, but
I hate it.
Thank you.
I hate it.
I hate it as well.
Something you
It
just
has no type.
It has no soul.
I'm gonna steal that from you. Dave.
It does. It
I'ma
has
steal
no
that.
soul.
And it's funny.
It's
Dave,
walking around a galleria.
we
Dave,
brought the soul to the
I-
structure,
Dave,
guys.
I go there.
No, they didn't.
Dave, I'm gonna be honest. I go there often. My brother's a chaplain for the Pistons.
Okay.
Right? And when I go, I'm like, why do we have to stay? It's just it has no type of.
No.
Like I said, the aura is just off. It's off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
I
I've been
agree.
there.
I
I've
feel
been
like
there-
I could still go on Joe Louis and win,
I agree.
and
Yeah.
that speaks on that soul part.
Yep.
Somebody order some food.
Oh yeah, hook us up, guys.
Well, but that's Joe Louis. I mean, that's not the LCA. It's not. It like I said, it doesn't have
Joe Louis.
that same vibe. It doesn't have that same. God, I'm sorry. When was the last time since the late '80s that you ever saw Joe Louis empty? Dude, they're changing the color of the seats to make it look better on TV.
Yeah.
Because of all.
That's
They
new to me.
put black.
Are you serious?
No,
They're putting
they
put black covers
like
over all the
these.
seats.
Like it's just like
Yeah.
this over the red seats
Because
it's
it
an
looks
eyesore
horrible on TV.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're empty. Dude, the Pistons home opener,
Yeah, I remember that because
those seats weren't a quarter full.
I watched it. I was like,
And like
no
in
one's
last
there.
year, they tried the whole, there's so much to see and do that, people
No.
tend to wander around.
'Cause we
No,
just
no,
talked about
Skippy.
it. Nothing's down there.
No, no, they don't. No,
And
there's
Blake-
just nobody there.
no one's down there. And Blake Griffin is not.
No.
He's not moving
Okay,
me.
so
He's not
this
moving
is
me to
what I
come.
thought of one day going into work. Is it because it's in Detroit?
No, because we just talked about it. Listen,
Joe Louis was.
in the heart.
Yeah, but the Palace of Auburn Hills was in Auburn Hills.
Yeah, but once no.
Is it because it's in Detroit?
No, it's just that it's nothing that's moving people to say, "Hey, I want to come here and watch this game." Who's on the Pistons? You can't name anyone outside of Blake Griffin. And Blake Griffin, who was he?
I wasn't even Andre Drummond.
I don't know who he is.
I wouldn't have never said
Dave
Blake
doesn't know who he
Griffin
is.
first.
I know
love
the
Blake.
name.
College.
I don't know. Yeah, like I said,
I love
I'm
him
not.
from college. His college years, love him.
Georgetown, yeah.
Love him.
Listen, this is pretty cool. Hey, I want to come back and do this again. And
So,
I'm a fan of Dave. I feel like Dave is family now.
Right?
Dave, can
Love
you be
him.
my BFF?
No, I mean, it's like I said though. I mean, this, like when you were like, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to talk for an hour." Yeah, it's been 55 minutes.
Are you serious? Oh, we got like what, 4 minutes and 17 seconds
No,
left?
we set it up to run until 7. We got time. But no, I mean, I do. I mean, and I think that's I think that's part of the issue with LCA is that nobody's there. Nobody.
6:45. We have 15 minutes.
Nobody
sir.
feels it. And you look. The Wings. Number one, neither team is doing great.
Nah, unfortunately.
And you look at the Wings who stretched so hard every year just to keep the streak alive. Making it to the playoffs, no matter how badly they got destroyed the minute the playoffs started. Yeah. When they should have been rebuilding then. Yeah. And so now their hand's going to get forced. Yeah. You hear. I'm curious to see what happens. You hear the rumors that Yzerman has been floating around town lately.
They say
and is he going to come back? Is he going to come back as the GM now that he's done what he's done down in Tampa?
He'll be a little God. If he
Well, and
back.
that would spark the soul back.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about bringing the Red Wings fan base back together? That'll do it.
Yes. Yes. I mean.
Even if he's
Yzerman?
he's not the coach, he's not behind the bench, but he's there.
For people who've never seen hockey, hey, you know Yzerman?
Yeah.
I know him.
Yeah.
Like I mean, legend.
Yeah.
Legend. You know what I like about it is we have lots of conversation around race and things of that nature, man. I think it's the coolest thing that Detroit, urban city, black city, especially during that time.
Yeah.
You're not talking about now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, talking about black on black on black.
Oh yeah, the 90s. Oh god, yeah.
Celebrated the Wings.
Oh yeah.
Like
dude, those
incredibly.
cups in 97, 98.
Like you go down to the parade. I
This
went
city
down one
was
year.
Insane.
Like you have black folks down there
Yeah.
celebrating.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it was incredible, man.
Oh yeah, hell, one of the shows on the network, In the Box.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on his name? Walt. Black guy hosts a show about hockey. And that's and it's so hilarious. Like whenever they go out and do a live event, and people are like, "Wait, you're the host?" Yes.
Yeah.
There was this guy named Grant Fuhrer. Remember? Yeah, black people like hockey. It's okay.
Right. Absolutely.
But again, that's why it's important. As much as we like, the Lions, but it's important for the Wings to be relevant.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what we know them of.
Yeah.
So-
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If the city needs stuff like that to rally behind.
We do.
The Lions. They're dead in the water. It is. It ain't gonna be them.
Yeah.
The Tigers, I think at best are going to be going through some rebuilding now that Mike's gone
for a long time.
You look at and like I said, and the Pistons and the Wings right now are both in that same boat where that's one of the reasons why nobody's going to the games because
Is their
they
coach
suck.
still there
Who?
with the Tigers?
I couldn't even tell you who the coach. You put a gun to my head. I couldn't tell you
Are
who the
you
coach is.
serious right now?
was like-
Who is the current coach of the
It's
Tigers?
like Budenheiger or something.
No,
Yeah.
the young.
No, he's
it was-
gone. He got fired. Remember?
Oh, okay, good.
The new
Okay.
coach. This was his first year.
Okay,
Buden, yeah.
just saying. Okay, carry on. So, Dame, us coming into the last.
Hey, I just want to say this. First of all, Dave is great.
He is
talked about-
great.
I counted in my head though. We talked about 33 different topics.
Oh my god! And I was downstairs ordering. Like, I wonder what the guys are talking about.
That was the meetup when you came. We just tailored off. We was like, she's back now. That's why we didn't have good energy in the beginning because she was here.
Well, I guess So let's double back to where we started. What can I,
Yes.
middle-aged white guy in the suburbs,
Yes.
what can I do
Yes.
to help Detroit schools get better?
I think that's the greatest question you can ever ask. And the biggest thing is that more people need to just rally around what effective schools look like. Because like I said, I had the opportunity to be in Houston, see New York schools, Chicago. It's not necessarily like it is an urban epidemic, but there are urban schools and other places doing phenomenal things, man. Our policies look different here, you know what I'm saying? So we don't have enough people going down to really change the laws around what our schools should look like, if you know what I mean. So that's a whole nother issue that if you weren't talking as much as you were talking, Dave, we could have addressed.
It happens.
We could have got some callers like, hey, who's that guy, Damon Pitt? But no, seriously, we need to really mobilize people to come together and say, hey, we're not accepting these types of things anymore, and that's a more complex issue. A roof of place like DPS, you have Superintendent Vitti. He's from Duval County and down in Jacksonville, Florida. He's doing some good things. I hope he keeps it up. But it's a complex issue because you have so much scandal. You have so much embezzlement.
Well, and I think that's... I think the sad reality is everybody wants a magic bullet.
They do.
Everybody wants, if we just do that.
Yes.
Okay, well, it didn't get this way because of one thing.
No.
You're not going to fix it with one thing.
No, you won't. And it's almost like the sports. You say, hey, it's going to take them time because, hey, he died, so they're not invested as much. It's no different from a corporation.
Yep.
And schools are. I mean,
very much so, yeah.
I don't like that, but they are. They're corporations. Anytime you have an infrastructure of that many people at top that trickle down, man, that's a corporation. I mean, there's so many words.
Oh, yeah.
But we just need a lot of people to be, I guess the word is to be knowing of what's going on. And many people don't. I have a conversation with my mom all the time. I call her like a conservative. My mom is kind of like the black person who doesn't believe. She's the person that never voted for Kwame Kilpatrick. She's the person that says, hey, I'm done with, who was the governor at the time? Blanchard?
Oh, yeah.
I'm done with Blanchard. I'm going to give Engler a chance. That type of person. I'm like, Mom, man, your black card is revoked.
Gonna need you to hand that over. Thanks, yeah.
Give it here.
But the point I think a lot of people just don't know because it's not evident, you know what I'm saying, just in simplistic terms. Hey, but at the end of the day, man, most of our schools in Detroit, probably about a little bit over 85% of them, if not 90%, are failing schools.
Yeah.
Failing schools.
So now when you say failing schools, does that mean the student population is failing, the building is failing, the what does failing school
student
mean?
Population, like these kids are not on grade level. Meaning that if you're in the 8th grade, you're probably, for example, I use my school. I'll call myself out. I have a population of 513 kids, and I have about 272 kids that are at 3rd grade level and below.
Sheesh.
3rd grade level and below.
So this floored me. I have some friends that are teachers,
Yeah.
and I remember we were all out having drinks over the summer, and one of the things that I learned that floored me was you can't just keep a kid back anymore.
You can, but it's just the research suggests that it's not.
Like the parent has to agree to it.
Right.
All depends in certain instances.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you keep a kid back, man, the research suggests that, man, it does nothing for the kid, if you know what I mean.
Really?
Because you get that same
They're
poor
getting
teacher,
the same thing.
Same poor instruction again, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? You may as well,
Insanity doing the same thing over and over
And then
again and
look-
expecting different results, yeah.
You look up, and your baby who's in school and at a great school, and you got that same kid that you put back twice, and now that kid's old as ever in the same class as your kid.
Right?
The ideal
So-
school is finding all those
Yeah.
teachers. Like in every building, you have maybe 3 to 5 teachers who they just got it.
Yeah.
They got it. You don't have to. No, you can't leave yet, Dame. We have 5 minutes. You have
I'm gonna come back in 1 minute.
Oh my gosh. But those like buildings who have those teachers who they have it. They have it naturally.
Yep. Well, I remember that when I was a kid.
You know.
There was that, those
If you
two
can have
teachers.
one building that has a whole bunch of
Yeah.
every teacher in that building got it,
Yeah.
those students are going to be on top.
Yeah, it's like I can still tell you, it was my 6th grade science teacher that got me really sparked up. One of my degrees is in biochem. It was my 6th grade science teacher that really got me hooked into that.
Mm-hmm.
It was my freshman year physics teacher who I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like it wasn't clicking with me at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he took the time, and this is one, like, you could never do this today, but he took me to a pool hall.
Mm-hmm.
and explain physics to me on a pool table.
Could never do
You could
that
never
today.
do that today.
Never.
But I got it.
But you could. You know, the way some of our schools are kind of structured is structured around this community type feel. And, like, even me still, like, I came from a Catholic background, parochial schools from K through 12. I haven't seen a public school till college, you know? So, where I come from, it was sit down, shut up, do your work.
Yep.
If you talk, you might get popped, but
Yep.
you definitely getting a note home to mom and dad.
See, and that honestly, like I said, you know what? I'm gonna hold that comment till he gets back. I want to hear his take on it.
You know, to like me, for instance, I was definitely a tomboy, still girl, but I had those morals and values rooted in me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I take that with my kids. They know I mean business. But the tone and the soul in the back of that tone is still love. Oh, he's
Right.
getting it back in a minute.
Oh yeah, no, and you know my kids are the same way. So I was about to throw a comment out based on what you said, and I said I'm not saying it till he gets back. So here's my question: when did it become? I remember if I brought home a bad grade, I got my ass kicked.
Yes.
When did that become the teacher's fault? Like, when did parents stop yelling at their kids about
Right.
screwing up and
Yes.
start yelling at the teachers? When did that happen?
Right.
Because I don't get it.
Yes.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that because my baby had parent-teacher conference maybe 2 nights ago, and and I'm a principal.
Right.
And I'm sitting in Farmington Hill Schools, and the teacher, won't say the name, but, you know, man, older white woman or whatever it is, but, man, she's commanding me. You know what I'm saying? She's sitting there, hey, this is what your daughter's doing, this is what she's not doing, and her behavior is this. I mean, it's just like, yes, ma'am. I get in that car, and I'm like, listen here, little bitty girl. You want to live or die?
See, and I think that's what's missing. You know, and I think that was one of the things I mentioned earlier was too many parents are putting too much on the shoulders of the school instead of taking their own. Because parents today are too damn worried about being their kid's friend.
I agree.
Instead of being their parent.
I agree.
And so they're relying too much on that aspect.
I agree. And everything is a school. It's not me. It's you all. You all need to do better.
Yeah. Why are you failing my kid?
Yes.
I'm not failing. Your kid's failing.
And
Yes.
honestly,
Yes.
I've had this conversation with a couple of my coworkers, and I just basically let her know, like, the days of when we were in school, you know, my parents didn't help me with homework.
No.
They didn't help me to study. If anything, they helped me review my spelling words or, you know, quiz me on some definitions that are going to be on a test. But the roles of teaching and learning has changed.
Yeah.
You know, parents are now the teachers, but that hasn't registered yet.
Yep.
And that role of how, like, the parents are kind of like how the teachers are because of so many other factors that are happening within a classroom that they can't adequately, for real, be a teacher.
Well, you got 40 kids in a classroom. There's no way in hell.
Not counting out of the 40, you might have 5 who are special ed.
Right.
And I'm going to go further. Special ed kids are probably fine. What you have nowadays is social emotional issues. So a lot of people
That's
like to
the
talk about the
thing.
behavior. The behavior is the easy part because those are kids who can repair themselves.
Yep.
It's a social emotional.
Yes.
So really the infrastructure of kids, the infrastructure of schools needs to change. So when we coming up, you had deans of students and all the above. Or you would say, hey, I got a social worker. But our social workers in the schools are not clinicians. They don't really know the trauma of things and things of that nature.
Yes.
So until we change the infrastructure of schools, I think you'll have better results. Not what I think. I know you'll have better results because probably about 70% of the issues are social emotional.
Because
This
if you go
kid-
to a special ed school, right, and say it has a classroom, my first year in DPS, I was at Drew Middle School, and one classroom was for emotionally impaired kids. That was the lowest number of kids in the building. only like 5 kids.
Nah,
Because their emotions
the majority of our
felt
kids,
like 100 kids in one class.
Yeah, the majority of our kids now, man, give him. If you talk about PTSD with folks who went to war, man, these are kids nowadays. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you think about it, man. You being 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you every day you hear MF of this and you ain't this and you ain't that, man. That does something to the brain.
Absolutely.
I mean, kids are simple. Hey, I like what you done. I'm gonna give you a piece of candy.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I like what you done. I'm gonna give you 2 pieces. Okay.
Yeah.
You like MF will clean that up. I'm beating that. I mean, so that's what you get. So then by the time they come to me or her or whatever, man, it's just like I'm attacking.
The mentality is already set.
I'm
Yeah.
attacking.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it's those it's the reflexive behaviors.
Yes.
Like that's
Yes.
that's already there. I mean, I was afraid to come home with a bad grade. I was afraid.
Me too.
And I think afraid is a kind word. I was terrified.
No, I mean, and that's it's like I remember my wife for whatever reason thought that this would be a bad thing. She said the kids are like my kids. She's like they're afraid of you, right?
Yeah.
And I said good.
Now, what school district are your kids?
Fraser.
Oh yeah.
She's like they're afraid of you, right? And I'm like good.
Yeah.
I'm their dad.
Yeah.
I don't need to be their friend.
Yeah.
They don't have to like me. They will respect me.
Yeah.
They can like me when they're in their 20s.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yes.
Maybe even their 30s.
Yep.
No, that's my role.
Because you're getting them there.
Yeah, that's
Simply put.
because it's my job to make sure they get there.
By any means. Because I am not supporting you in your 20s.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so Damon, what does 40, your early 40s, what is that going to look like?
I think for me, it looks different because I'm not a person of age. I mean, I feel good. I feel like it's funny because I used to play college ball at Central Michigan University in football. And I feel like more athletic now than I did then. And I feel like I'm living my life to the best of my degree now, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So I think I'm looking forward to 40. Mm-hmm.
I call him the Benjamin Button.
The one thing I stopped doing is I stopped drinking like a lot of beer.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have a gut.
Yep.
So I just said I'll just stick to alcohol.
A lot of people make that change. Well, no, and I kind of the same boat. I mean, I there's been a million times where because we've got I've got my day job, we've got this and this keeps blowing up, and we've got our networking group, and we're doing some nonprofit work and all that other stuff. And there isn't a day that goes by where I'm like, why could this nonsense not have happened when I was 25?
But I will say, Dave, I appreciate it because you're good at what you do. You carried me through this.
Awesome.
Hey, audience, I was nervous. Then, it didn't look like it, but I don't know what it is just speaking to mic. I usually speak to eyeballs.
Yeah. No, and that's why I said. I mean, it's a lot easier than people think it is, and I mean it gets.
But you got to have a facilitator like yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you just had a person that was just a regular engineer and just said, "No, keep going." I'm like, "Keep going about what?"
About what? Yeah.
All
right. Well, I guess let's wait for her to get back before we wrap things up. So, anything else you got on your mind?
Dave, I think we covered most of everything. I mean, and
we kind of did go all over the map.
Yeah, we did. And we don't have to wait for it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I feel good about what we covered. So,
okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, then I will go ahead and wrap things up. Let me. I will turn that off.